I'm crossing the street in Tokyo with my brother Dylan, and he's about to make a crazy decision. He wants to spend thousands of dollars on a suitcase. Now, not just any suitcase, the kind that tells more about the person buying it than the suitcase itself. And as we step into the bright lights of the Rimowa store, Dylan's face is filled with excitement. But all I can think about is how neither of us have ever made a purchase like this in our lives. Our parents would be shocked at the idea of us spending this amount of money on something like this. As we walk around the carefully curated store, Dylan eventually looks at me as if he wants my approval before making his decision.
What you saying, bud? Impulse buy now or to wait for a day, let it sit?
And thankfully, I managed to convince him to wait. And sure enough, a few days later, we're in a shopping mall in China buying a different suitcase. This time, it's one that says more about the case itself rather than the person buying it. For just $100, you get everything that the Rimowa one had. Fully made from aluminum, leather handles, and buttery smooth wheels. What you don't get is the status. You don't get the little logo that people recognize, and you don't get to take flashy pictures to post on social media. And standing in that mall, having held both of the suitcases, it really hit us. The status was the only thing the extra thousands of dollars actually bought. For decades, luxury brands have convinced ordinary people that buying certain products could tell the world and themselves that they're actually worth something. But today, that facade is crumbling. The curtain got pulled back, and the thing that was supposed to signal status now signals embarrassing dress-up instead. Now, status is nothing new. Humans have always used objects to signal where they stand. Thousands of years ago, it was the quality of your armor, then it was the size of your home, and then the car on the driveway. But it's always been about the same thing, being seen as someone worth taking seriously. But somewhere in the 20th century, a small group of European fashion houses worked out how to turn that need into an industry. The man most responsible is Bernard Arnault. He built all of these different brands into one conglomerate called LVMH.
Birkenstock, Sephora, Hennessy, Tag Heuer, Marc Jacobs, Off-White, Christian Dior, Stella McCartney, Tiffany, Hublot, Bulgari, Fendi, Louis Vuitton, Givenchy, or Zenith.
Today, they own 75 different brands and pull in over 80 billion euros every single year. But the clever part was never buying up all of these brands. It was understanding exactly what luxury actually sells. When everyone around you can see exactly what you paid, the price tag becomes the message. The Louis Vuitton monogram, the Gucci double G, the Chanel double C.
Look at this. Oh, perfect. Oh my God.
Isn't it great?
Chris! I know, it's my dream.
These aren't just logos, they're a language to tell people who see them that you made it. You belong and you are worth something. And for a long time, that language had real power. The 2010s were peak logo. Migos made a song called Versace. Kanye West was obsessed with Louis Vuitton.
I've been called the Louis Vuitton Don. I've been called a lot of names, mostly the Don, the Louis Vuitton Don.
It was hard not to spot a Gucci belt or an LV duffel bag in them. And that's exactly when it started to hit streetwear. Supreme turned the red box logo into something that people literally queued overnight for, and then of course started flipping them for like 10 times the retail price. And as streetwear exploded, the luxury houses started to take notice. They wanted a piece of that energy. So in 2018, Louis Vuitton handed Virgil Abloh their menswear division. And all of a sudden, luxury wasn't just for old money. It was now for culture. And by 2019, luxury was everywhere. The demand completely outrun the supply, and this is when it started to become a real problem. Here's an absolutely mind-blowing stat. In 2019, a Chanel Classic flip bag cost $5,800. Today, that same exact bag is pushing $11,800. According to Bain, the prices for iconic bags rose between 50 and 70% from 2019 to 2025. Over the same period, inflation was nowhere near that. These bags didn't change either. Nothing about them got better. The leather hasn't changed. The stitching didn't suddenly improve. The price simply just went up for no reason. The Louis Vuitton Speedy, which is literally something that is just coated canvas, not even real leather, that doubled in price. Prada, Gucci started increasing bag prices up to 75%. It got so out of hand that between 2021 and 2023, these price hikes made up around 80% 20% of the entire industry's growth. So all of these luxury brands weren't growing by selling more and becoming more popular. They were just charging more for the exact same thing. And for a while, it worked. Post-pandemic, people had savings to burn. Stimulus checks rolled in, and these brands saw record profits. But those prices were supposed to be backed by something somewhat real. The craftsmanship, the heritage, the quality that to some degree justified at least some of the price. But with the quality unchanged and prices at an all-time high, people started to take notice. And they started questioning, well, what the hell am I even paying for? And thanks to the internet, they could easily find the answers. We got leather specialists on TikTok, one called Tanner Leatherstein.
In 2025, we dissected over $50,000 worth of luxury leather.
Just to showcase the interest, he built over 1 million followers just by taking luxury bags apart on camera and asking the simple question, is it actually worth it? And his answer most of the time is obviously no. It's just bags costing thousands, coming nowhere close to being made with materials that justify the price. And this is what a lot of these brands completely missed about social media. For decades, the power of luxury relied on distance. You saw it in a magazine or the store window, not through the infinite scroll. But now this information was so easily accessible and so in-depth, people very quickly started to react. In just 3 years, luxury lost over 60 million customers. From 2022 to 2025 was the first time in history the luxury customer base had actually shrunk. Just a few years ago, Gucci was the most hyped name in fashion, thanks to Lil Pump. Jokes aside, they fell off almost as hard as him. Revenue down 23% in a single year. Operating profit cut in half. Their parent company, Kering, lost around 60% of their value in just 2 years. So what do you do when your money starts drying up? You panic. Balenciaga released their trash bag that costed thousands of dollars just to create some shock value. Kind of like most of their products, to be honest. They also did a roll of duct tape as a bracelet, which I think cost $4,400. And other luxury brands just decided to chase the hype. You got Audemars Piguet, one of the most respected watch brands, doing a collaboration with Swatch. It definitely generated hype and sold out worldwide, but it also told you everything. When prestige brands start fishing for online virality, the old magic just isn't working like it used to. You got Bentley doing ASMR advertisements. Brands that built their whole identity on being untouchable suddenly are desperate to be seen. And here's the thing about being cool. The second you're trying this hard to be it, you're not it anymore. But the tens of millions of people who walked away from luxury brands didn't stop wanting nice things. They didn't stop wanting status either. What actually changed was just what they were willing to pay for it. This is where we enter the replica boom. Now, fake or knockoff products have been a thing for as long as I can remember. However, they've always kind of been looked down upon, socially speaking. If you bought a designer product that was fake, it would be scrutinized by your peers or people online. But today, it's a completely different story. Knockoff products have become so popular and widespread that people regard buying these fake products as actually making the smart choice. LARPing is a great example of this. It's an internet trend that stands for live action role-play. Now, it used to mean dressing up and going to a park and playing out different things, but online it now means pretending to live a life that you actually don't. And the best way to do that is to buy knockoff products and act it out. The replica designer clothes, the fake sneakers, the replica watches. People are even buying fake car keys to clip to their pants or take pictures of, so that people believe you drive something that you actually don't. And this is fueled largely by the ease of access that people have nowadays to all of these knockoff products. You have Chinese manufacturers posting their own content and how to buy their products online on social media. Websites like Taobao, Temu, Shein are some of the most popular apps in the entire world. But the reality of the knockoff boom that we're seeing currently is that it's kind of the same thing. It's just buying the luxury item. The same status mechanism, just without the price tag. But the part that's super interesting are the side effects of fakes and knockoff products becoming so popular. A lot of people who got into replicas through websites like Taobao, hunting for a cheap version of a product that they cannot afford, they got exposed to Chinese brands. And I'm talking real brands, original designers, genuinely good clothes and shoes, all at a fraction of the cost. People started discovering and buying stuff directly from the source, eliminating removing all of that artificial scarcity and overpriced brand names, people started actually doing their own quality evaluations. They want things that are durable, made well, and actually worth the money. They've stopped just taking the price tag as proof of quality and started checking themselves. And smaller brands have started to notice this shift in customer base and the knowledge that they have. And they've started to make sure that their products give the best value possible. But the bigger brands have also noticed this shift, and they're already trying to sell that smartness back to you. Quiet luxury, another online trend. The unbranded, no logos, just quality. It's all partly a real reaction to this, but it's also just being marketed as the new status symbol for people who think they're too smart for logos. But a $700 cashmere cap is still a $700 cap. Same game, they've just flipped the marketing to flatter the skeptic instead of the show-off. The thing is, these brands have lost tens of millions of customers in just a few years, and they don't know how to get them back. People got really good at asking the simple question, is this actually worth the money I'm paying for? The one question that brought an entire industry to its knees. And a few months later, Dylan still has that $100 suitcase. It's been thrown around airports, shoved in overhead lockers, dragged across more countries than I care to even remember. And it's completely fine.
Well, hello. Looking for an update on the old $100 bag from China? Well, as you can see, it has been traveling all around the world. Every single flag is a country that this bag has been to now. It's literally been on a News Daddy world tour. And the update is it is held up amazingly. I haven't really had any issues with it yet. Everyone compliments me, asking me where I've got it. So this was an absolute generational purchase, and I'm so glad I did not spend the thousands on the Rimowa. I'll be going back and getting another one this year.